Hello, people. Sorry I'm late. I was waiting for the iPad. So I'll give everyone a chance to come on because I am behind. Turn down the volume on the iPad. Okay, get my bits. I will wait for a few people. Oh, I see that Lynn has joined me. Are you gonna stamp, Lynn? Have you got all your bits? Or are you just watching? Okay, so what I am curious to know is, do you guys want to see what we're making ahead of time? Or do you just want to go through the process and then see at the end? Because I have a copy I have already made, and then I have all the pieces to make it with you. So I'll see what a couple of you say before I go too much further. Hello, Chandra. Do you want to see what we're making in advance, or do you want to just wait and find out as we make it? Oh, okay. Kristen wants to see, then okay, then you can make decisions. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Woo! Yes, in advance. Okay, everyone's saying in advance. Okay, so it's a good thing I got my sample finished. Oh my gosh. So, okay, let's show you what we're gonna make. So this is the one that I have already made. So you can kind of get a sense of what I talked about with like the punched out pieces and your DSP. And you could certainly go fancier than this. You could emboss this back piece if you wanted to. We could certainly have ribbon on here. Certainly there could be embellishments, and I just haven't put that on because, like I said, I like literally finished this before I popped on. So this is what the front looks like. And then that extra piece of cardstock is because it's a fun little pop-up card on the inside. So that's where that second scrap of basic white is for the circle. I said you've got a couple more little popped up pieces. And then I did a separate piece of cardstock in here, or of DSP, as opposed to the same one that's on the front, because these pieces from the dragonfly coordinate so beautifully. But my second card that I'm gonna make with you guys, this DSP that I've got on the front is the same DSP that I'm gonna put inside. So that kind of gives you an idea with mixing up your DSPs, how you want to make that work. And this piece inside, because this is the one measurement I didn't give you, is 2 3/8 by 4. Okay, so you can see what orientation it has to go in. And it's this fun little pop-up fun fold. So yes, I made this original card with this the Dandy Garden DSP, which is gorgeous. You could make this card in so many colors. And then I punched out all these dragonflies from the DSP. And the sentiment is from this beautiful stamp set, Strong and Beautiful. And then the inside, the You Are Amazing, is from the You Are Amazing stamp set, which you've been seeing in a bunch of my cards lately that have been on my social media. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this card and have some fun. So now the card that I'm going to make with you guys, I have chosen the beautiful new butterfly. So everything is using the Butterfly Bijou DSP, and we're gonna use, but then we're actually gonna incorporate some of the old butterfly, and I've pulled out the Butterfly Punch from Butterfly Gala, I think it is, yeah. The Butterfly Gala stamp set. So we're gonna have some fun with that. Okay, so let's just get all our bits and go from there. So you have your original piece of cardstock, which is your 5.5 by 8.5, and that's just folded in half. So scored and folded in half. I did that bit ahead of time. And then I want you to get your other piece of cardstock, which is the 7 by 4 1/4. So that's this piece here. Now you're gonna need something to score that with. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull out my paper trimmer so we can score this. So this piece here, like I said, 4 1/4 by, I believe I said 7, didn't I? 7, yeah. And we're gonna score at 2 1/2, 3 1/2, and 4 1/2. Okay, so 2 1/2, 3 1/2, and 4 1/2. Now, this paper here, this gorgeous, gorgeous DSP, this butterfly DSP, the butterfly bijou, our coordinating color here that I've pulled out is Bermuda Bay, but to me it looks like this color inside of that is more like Coastal Cabana. So I thought the Bermuda Bay cardstock was too bright for the whole card, so I went with the Coastal Cabana. Now this piece, we need to make a W. So go ahead and fold it in half, and you're gonna wanna use your bone folder if you have one. And then these 2 bits are going to come like that. Because we're basically making that little shelf that's gonna go inside of our card. So see, you've got your W. So you are going to want to burnish those edges. So whether you have a bone folder or whether you like to just do it with your fingernail, or whether you use a ruler or the edge of a punch, or whatever it is that you like to use to make sure your folds are nice and crisp, I would go ahead and do that, okay? So I'm going to just keep motoring along. If I'm going too fast, then by all means, jump in and let me know. The only thing we're gonna put this aside for right now, your W, and we're gonna go back to our card front. I'm gonna get my silicone sheet because you know that I don't do anything without that. So these are my pieces for my card front. It's the only thing I have added that I didn't give you guys in your instructions, and certainly you could add it. I didn't do it in this original card, so if we look at this original card, because these pieces had really nice contrast already, I just placed them as is, one on top of the other. With the cardstock I've chosen here, I felt like I wanted a little bit more separation between this strip of DSP, this 1-inch strip, and our bigger piece of DSP. So I cut another piece of just cardstock that coordinated with my DSP. So this is 1 1/8, still by 5 1/4. So it's just giving me a little bit of break between these pieces. And I did this in Blushing Bride because it is one of the colors in my DSP. So that is something that you could add to yours depending on what sort of DSP you've got going on. But I just wanted to let you know that that is what I have done with my card. Looks to me like none of my pieces are cut very straight. I'm just gonna double check that this is actually 1 1/8 with a straight edge, because it doesn't really look like it. No, okay, so let's make that a straight 1 1/8. That's our scoring blade. Make sure that hasn't slipped. I was doing a bunch of cutting last night and it kept slipping. Okay. There we go. That's better. So A or B, or what I love about this card, A and B, is it's a nice way to use coordinating DSP, and it's a fun little pop-out card. So it's a fun little surprise when someone opens it. It's a great way to use any of those stamp sets, and that's what I was going to try to use, but they weren't really fitting the circle very well. Any of those stamp sets that are kind of 2-part. So the Massive Thanks was the one I was thinking of. This one here, because it's like, this isn't just a thank you card, it's a hug with a fold in the middle. So, you know, there's the bit that goes on the front and then the bit that you would put on the inside. So these kinds of cards would be great cards for any of these sort of 2-step stamp sets. You just need to then figure out what shapes you want to use. And because I'd already sort of suggested circles, I didn't want to go past that. So I'll make some more that use that other stamp set. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this together. So I'm going to put the strip onto that little layer of colored cardstock I have. So if you are not putting in a little extra layer or anything, then you're just gonna put your strip right onto your piece of DSP. So I'm just gonna do this little bit first. This paper is so, so beautiful. I don't know who has it yet, who plans to get it. I have 2 packs already. And even though I know I have a second pack, I'm already, when I'm using one side and the other side is like super gorgeous, I'm already like, eek, I don't want to use that side because then I'm losing out on that super beautiful side on the other. But this paper is going to be around until the beginning of May, so we've got some time. Okay, so now that I've got that strip the way I want it, it's going to go in the center of your one piece of DSP. I'm not using dimensionals on any of these items at this moment. Everything here is just flat. So you can see how gorgeous the back side of this paper is, right? Like, hello. Oh my God, like off the charts, which is why I was like, oh, I don't want to cut it. Okay, so I don't know how many of you guys have switched to Stampin' Seal, but I'm really now getting the hang of how to use it, finally. So you really want to be parallel. You just want to pull gently. You don't need a lot of force, and then you're just gonna lift it up. And now that I've kind of really got that parallel, not too much force thing, it's really working for me. Okay, when you put it on this piece of white paper, because I made this mistake already on my first card, you're going to have a border all the way around. So don't line it up with one edge. I lined mine up with one edge and then I had to tear it off, okay? So this might be a good time to actually use the Tombow, the liquid, instead of your seal, so that you have a little bit of room. But you want to center this on your piece of Whisper White or Basic White, whatever white it is you're using. Okay, lovely. And then this is now going to get centered on your card front. So like I said, if you wanted to, you could certainly quickly run this through with an embossing folder. Although having said that, then you're going to see the deboss on the inside of your card, and we already have about a bunch of interest going on the inside of your card. So what you could do is, like for example, like this with the butterflies, you could stamp something, but we don't have that much card front showing, so personally I don't think it's that much of an issue. Now, if I wanted to put a little bit of ribbon or something on, you might want to put that on now underneath of here, but again, it just depends what you guys are planning, if you want to kind of jazz your card up a bit. So I am just going to, again, use my adhesive on the back of this layer. So this card is an excellent one, again, for when we have these beautiful punches or dies, and we can just punch out the paper, which you can see is what I've done a little bit, but we're gonna have a little bit more fun on the inside. Okay, so there's our card front, and then I am going to put these butterflies on the front. We'll probably do my little butterfly trick, which is to bone folder the edges and crease at the body. And this little crease at the body gives us our bit to put our glue, and then it just kind of gives a nice little 3D butterfly. I'm really enjoying doing that with these butterflies. Great card sketch for pretty much any DSP. Yeah, it really is. It's so pretty. And then you don't even have to do the inside if you didn't want to, right? But so the other thing we're going to do on the outside is our greeting. And this time I'm going with this one. You have what it takes to be unstoppable. And I couldn't be more proud. And so that's going to go in our circle. So I think I will actually do that in the Bermuda Bay. If I decide I don't like it, I can always stamp on the other side. And I'll do that before I actually do the die. Yeah, that's gonna be nice. Okay, and then we're just gonna die cut that. I'm gonna actually, and I'm gonna punch out my white circle while we're at it for the inside. Okay, and then I am just going to cut this off. We're just gonna pull out our my mini cut and emboss. For any of you guys who haven't seen that sweet little machine, let's pull it out for our, so this is our stitch circle, the third largest, or no, yeah, second largest. Not the biggest, but the second biggest. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys have got this little guy, the mini. Super fun. Okay, so we need our plates. And we need this guy. Yes. All right. So you want to put this on. You don't want your edges to be lined right up. So pull them back a little. Center that. And then this guy. Feed that through. All right, so there's our stitch circle. Fold that guy back up. Put it away. It's actually one of the few things I actually put away on a regular basis. Okay, bring our card front back. We're going to use dimensionals for this. So I didn't mention that, but I assume that almost everyone has dimensionals handy. I put 3 on here. Some people do 4. And then if we look back to the first card, it's just kind of off to one side here. Like, oh my God, these butterflies, so gorgeous. Okay, and then what my trick with these butterflies, once I've done this with them, is instead of using a dimensional, so I'm going to actually have to put that guy to change where they are because they're big. So I just use a little bit of this glue where I've made that crease. You can tell this one's almost empty. There we go. So I'm going to put this one so it's almost totally on my card, so it will still fit in my envelope. The good news is our envelopes are slightly bigger than our cards. Okay. Same thing down here. So these butterflies, sorry, I didn't really explain where they came from, did I? They are from another piece of the DSP. I will show you. They are from this beautiful piece of the DSP, and the dies cut out the butterflies. So I had already cut out these 6 butterflies and I had them on my desk because I used 3 of them the other day on a different card. So I had 3 of them left. Sorry. And this is the other one. So it's so amazing. This one die perfectly lines up with this piece of paper and instantly you have all 6 butterflies. But then look at the other side. It's so gorgeous. And I'm gonna make a card, I don't know when, hopefully over spring break. And so I'm gonna keep this because there's a really neat trick when you keep your piece to use as a mask to do some blending. Okay, so there is the front of our card. And honestly, we could literally just stop there, right? Like, it's beautiful. I would like to get that card, wouldn't you? But we're gonna go ahead and make the inside. So this is a 2-inch circle, which is what I had mentioned. And what I had done on both cards is just, I put this "You Are Amazing" on the inside, okay? So, of course, you could do whatever you want. But that is what I'm going to do. And I might actually, I'm thinking maybe I'll do this in the lighter color, the Coastal Cabana. Again, if I don't like it, I can turn it over. Okay. In case you didn't know, tomorrow is International Women's Day. So that is another reason that I chose to work with this Strong is Beautiful stamp set, because they are all amazing messages that would be fabulous for International Women's Day. So we're going to do this inside piece now, and I just find it might be easier to put together before so here's my choice. I can have it be this side, or I purposely cut it so I could have it be the butterflies. And I kind of like it that way. So like I said, you guys are obviously going to do whatever works for you with the paper you've chosen. The card that where I learned this fancy fold, Ronda Wade, she had used the exact same piece on the inside that she used on the outside. So you could totally do that. When I'm placing this piece on the inside, it's going on the top. It's going right flush with the score mark, and then it's just centered otherwise. So you've got a border on the 3 edges. Okay? Like that. We're gonna do the pop-up bit after. Now, I had never made this card until today. So when I made the first one, I thought I had it all figured out is the best way to put it together so it would fold nicely. But in the end, I don't think I did. So I think what I've got going on right here is pretty good. So what I had done with my first card, I'd actually flattened this totally out and lined up the score lines. But what I can see when I did that, it didn't fold perfectly flush. So I think what we kind of have to do is hold it on there so you can see. I'm creating my little shelf, for lack of a better word, and I'm putting this in the middle of the card, left to right, and then I'm just kind of letting it fold over. So I think we actually have to just have a little bit of give in this top shelf. If it's totally in the middle, it won't fold nicely. So we kind of want it to go like that. So you can do a couple of things. I'm actually going to just kind of put a little mark on my corner here, so I know where I want to line this up. Okay. So I can see where that corner is. You could use a pencil, something that you can easily erase. And then I'm going to put adhesive on the back side of this. So that has just run out. So I'm going to just switch to this. So it'll be faster. All I did on my other one was I did the top and bottom. You could certainly do the edges. I might now because we're using this one. All right, so I'm gonna come back in here and I'm gonna line it up with those tiny little etched marks I made. Nice thing about those is I'm gonna cover them now with this. Like I said, you could use pencil, whatever kind of works for you. You can see I'm not totally centered left to right, which was my problem with my first card as well. It doesn't really matter, it's just aesthetics, right? But for those of you that are picky about that, okay. So So, you know what actually might be a good thing to do? I think I'm going to do this because that's kind of how it has to be. It's flat now. And I'm going to put adhesive on it like this. And then I'm going to put the top down. And we'll see if that gives us a smoother fold. My other one is fine, don't get me wrong. It's still going to be super cool in the envelope, but let's see how this works. And I'm just going to straighten it out a little. It was a little crooked. And then fold again. Okay, and so there's your inside. I'm not actually sure what this fold is called. If I can find out an actual name, I'll let you know, and then you could probably look it up. Maybe there are sort of better game plans for the inside. But there, now we have that in the inside. So this, of course, is where you're gonna write. So depending on the color of cardstock you've used, you might wanna also put a little piece of white here. So again, I did this, that's 4 wide by 2 3/8, which will give you a nice white surface. So now we're going to put this on. So I just put adhesive on the bottom. So you totally don't have to do a circle, and so you could use other stamp sets. You could do a square, a rectangle, whatever sort of shape you want. And you're just going to center that. And then this is where you're going to do your other little punched out shapes. So whether you decide to do some little flowers, you could also put a little bit of ribbon there or twine. So I was planning to actually stamp these little butterflies. And I had a scrap of mint, because that's the other color in here. But I suspect that my scrap of mint has gone by the wayside. Oh, maybe not. Here we go. So I was going to do a couple of these really pretty small butterflies. And I just want the small ones. And I'm going to do tone on tone. Although actually on the DSP, it looks like it's got Misty Moonlight, which is really pretty on the mint. So let's see what that looks like. So I just want this little guy. And then I'm going to take my punch. Going to get rid of that. And just punch out this little butterfly. And then I am going to take another one of these really intricate ones. And I'm just going to use the other side of my block. I'm going to do the same. Except for I missed the bottom because I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Punch out it. So the card that I had originally was got this idea from was Casing. They had little flowers on the inside. The little petite blooms punch. Now, what did I do with my other little butterfly? There we go. One. And I think I'm actually going to do a third one. And then we can see, we can decide. And of course, your card can have embellishments, ribbon, all the bling for sure, 100%. So I am going to do, what am I going to do here? So this is the thing, this is where I can't decide if you kind of want to have it already decorated or if you want to be trying to add these decorations after the fact. But I'm still new to this fold, so I'm still kind of new to figuring out where you're applying pressure, where you're scoring, where you're, you know, let's use the full one. So that's the only reason I've kind of done this one in this order. For those of you who are watching and not creating along, then you could certainly, you'll be an expert and you can be totally dialed with how you put yours together. I feel like I'm doing like a diorama, you know, kids have to do at school. My son hasn't had to do that, so I don't know if that was a grade 4 thing that we're not having to do because of COVID, or if it's a grade 5 thing and it's coming next year. Okay, so that is the inside of my second version. And I will show you the inside of the first one where I actually had put the dragonflies right up on the edge. Okay, so lots of options, and of course depending on the stamp you use, the greeting, it might fill the circle or you might choose to use a different shape. So I think on both of these I'm going to be adding a layer of basic white for where I'm going to write my message, and then we'll just close them both and you can see the fronts of both of those cards. So very similar. This is the one where I added that extra layer of colored cardstock. And then, as Chandra would say, if she's still watching, no card is complete without some bling. So they could both certainly do with either some sequins or some rhinestones. So I think actually on this one here, I'm going to add the in-colored dots. Let me find them. Had them out yesterday. The in-colored dots. Oh, Chandra's adding her bling right now. So what I would love is for anyone who created alongside, if you want to share in this post your creations. So I would love to see what you came up with. So like I said, I think I'm gonna add dots here, and I think on this one I'm just gonna do classic rhinestones. So we're gonna sign off because we're already almost at 40 minutes. Oh no, I guess we're at half an hour because I started late, didn't I? So yeah, let's do some bling on here. So I can't wait to see what you guys have come up with. I hope you will share your photos. I would love to see the bling that you had, the choices that you made. Certainly those of you who chose your paper ahead of time, were you know, happy with what you had chosen? Did it work out with what we ended up making? I know sometimes that's tricky because you pick something and then it doesn't work at all with the orientation, or you know, when you see how they're going to overlap, it's like super busy and it doesn't actually work the way you want it to. So I can't wait to see what everyone else did. Okay, I'm gonna go help my husband make Sunday dinner. We're having roast beef, and really, he's the pro. It's so amazing. So I do the sides. Thank you for joining me. If you guys enjoyed this, you know, mystery stamping, I'm considering trying to do it on a weekly basis. We could do it on Sundays, Sketch Sunday. So by all means, post your picture, let me know, and feel free to share this post. It will end up on my blog and also on my YouTube. And yeah, thanks again, and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.